Well, Pete Crow-Armstrong decided to mire himself in some controversy recently. The way he responded to that woman heckling him wasn't exactly the smartest way to handle things, and it certainly wasn't a good look for him. But I'm not here to clutch my pearls and pretend to be offended.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
I do have a problem with this whole situation, though. It's not what you may be thinking, however, and I'll get to that in a minute. Now, you hear different angles to this story, but I think it's safe to say, based on quotes from all parties involved, is that this chick was there at her engagement party. She's a Sox fan, possibly hammered, and had every intention to talk shit to PCA. Pete pretty much said she was talking shit, and he responded in kind. Who knows what she was saying throughout the game to him, but the thing that apparently set Pete off was this lady calling him PC AAA, which is honestly pretty funny. And that's where my issue, or really my concern with PCA lies. A woman heckling him during a game and he loses his cool over that? Really? I made a video before the season previewing his Cubs team. When I got the PCA, I mentioned the tantrums he throws every time he makes an out gets pretty old. It's a detriment not only to himself, but to his team. And by all accounts, he is a good teammate. Look at the walk-off wins the Cubs have had. PCA is the first guy running out of the dugout to celebrate. He is constantly praising his teammates and his coaches. That's all great, but it doesn't negate the fact that when he acts like a child, his teammates and manager have to field questions about his antics. And you can tell Craig Counsell gets tired of dealing with that shit no matter how he answers it to the media. The thing I find interesting with PCA is that if he wasn't a Cub, I would probably despise this cocky little bastard. Go back in time to the 90s Bulls teams. Dennis Rodman was with the hated Pistons. Those teams were a thorn on the Bulls' side. Rodman was a big reason why. Fast forward a few years, Rodman's his own circus with the Spurs, and then he comes to the Bulls. Dennis Rodman brings his baggage and his past with him to Chicago, but all is forgiven because he's on our team now, and we know how important he's going to be to win. My old lady is a Braves fan. I know it's disgusting. It'll probably lead to divorce down the road. That or her torrid love affair with Austin Riley. Regardless, what I can tell you is that I detest Ronald Acuna. Lots of reasons to find the guy annoying, but his candy-ass celebration for his 40-70 accomplishment against the Cubs pretty much sealed the deal for me. Now, if this nitwit was a Cub, my opinion of him and that celebration would be completely hypocritical 180. But that's what fandom does. You back the guy in your team, you're loyal to your team, and that makes you loyal to these players. Now, let's say PCA was never traded and is now patrolling center field for the Mets. Would Cubs fans be talking about how overrated he is? Yes. And be honest, this is the type of guy that you would boo every time he came to Wrigley Field. And Pete would embrace it. What throws a red flag to me about PCA is that he's not only embracing this villain role, but he's starting to lead into it. And that's all fine and dandy when you're the PCA the first half of the 2025 season. But post-2025 All-Star game and so far into this season, all he's looking like is a guy who talks a lot of shit and doesn't do much to back it up. Yeah, that can lead to a lot of heckling on the road, but sooner or later, that act isn't going to age too well at Wrigley. Fair or not, the lack of production will bring out the boo birds in Chicago. How's he going to handle that? Right now, I don't think Pete is emotionally mature enough to take that on. He's showing that he's thin-skinned. I mean, come on, PC AAA is what set him off? Or was it the fact that he missed that catch along the wall? Honestly, it was probably both, but either way, it shows that he lets shit get to him and it affects his play. The bat tossing after strikeouts, the helmet slamming after grounding out. Nobody is going to deny that PCA is a competitor and wants to win. But right now, he's blind to the fact that his emotions bleed into the next inning, the next at-bat, the next game, and so on. And not in a positive way. You can look at the series right after the White Sox with the Brewers for some examples. Now look, we all say and do dumb shit in our 20s. It happens. And PCA seems like a good guy who understands who he is. He's aware kids look up to him. He strikes me as someone who wants to be looked at positively as a role model, and that's great. But whether he likes it or not, Pete Crow-Armstrong is going to have to be a leader of this team at some point. But until the tantrums and the immaturity goes away, he may end up being his own worst enemy and become the villain in Chicago.
The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
He gone!